Good evening and welcome to the Town of Sykesville Candidate Forum. I am Steve Inslow and I'll be the moderator for tonight's event. The forum is being held for the residents of the town to ask questions of the candidates running for a council member position on the town council. The election will be held on Tuesday, May 5th, starting at 8 a.m. and the polls close at 8 p.m. All registered voters in the town of Sykesville will be voting for candidates on this panel. This evening's forum is being held at the Sykesville's Townhouse. The program is being streamed live on Community Media Center's website at www.carrollmediacenter.org and will be rebroadcast on cable channel 19. Because the forum is being recorded, we ask that everyone turn off their cell phones and that the attendees refrain from applause or making any noise during the forum or doing anything visible or audible to express support or opposition to any candidate during the event. We'll start off this evening by introducing you to the candidates. Following their introduction, each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement. So we're going to start at the far end with Julia Betts.
Hi, my name is Julia Betts. I've lived in the town of Sykesville for 25 years. I married my husband in 1990 and we live in the same house that we moved into that year. We have 2 boys, ages 16 and 18. I worked in mortgage banking until that business slumped, and I stayed at home to be a stay-at-home mom, and I have never regretted that decision. I went back into the workforce in June last year, and I work for a home builder in Columbia named Williamsburg Homes. I've served on the council for 4.5 years. I was appointed to fill a vacancy, and then I was elected to a 4-year term. I'm again running for a 4-year term. And let's see, I've served as liaison to the Parks and Recreation Committee and the Planning Commission.
Great, thank you, Julia. Next up is Chip Bleem.
Hi, my name is Chip Bleem, and I'm running for the 2-year position on the town council. My wife and I decided to move our family here 7 years ago to the town of Sykesville because we love the small town feel. Just about 6 months ago, we decided to move our business here as well. I am a chiropractor at Freedom Chiropractic and Rehab in Eldersburg, so just outside of the town limits. But we thought it was important to maintain the small town feel. We love the area, so we want to continue to grow the area in terms of small business as well as, economic development on Main Street.
Great, thanks a lot, Chip. Next up is Anna Carter.
Hi, my name is Anna Carter, and about 6 years ago, I started working downtown here in Sykesville. Fell in love with the town, moved myself and my family down here, so we've been here for about 5 years. Immediately started volunteering in the community. My husband loved it so much that he relocated his business to downtown Sykesville before he retired last year. Our whole family volunteers in all of the events down in Sykesville, along with the surrounding areas. Currently, I am the chair of the Economic Development Committee, and I am the liaison of the Parks and Rec. We're strong believers in the community and volunteering. I'm seeking re-election because I want to help the community grow and continue its revitalization.
Great. Well, thank you, Anna. Next up, Mary Castle.
Hi, my name is Mary Castle. I'm 37 years old. I'm married for 13 years. I've lived in Sykesville pretty much all my life. I have 2 children, a boy 9 and a girl 5. I work for the state of Maryland. I've worked there for 16 years. I'm running for council to attempt to bring diversity and opinions for the younger adults in the town, and trying to pick up where my father, Eugene Johnson, left off, who served on the town council for 22 years.
Great, thank you very much, Mary. And last but not least, Chris True.
Hi, my name is Chris True, and I'm running for one of the 4-year positions on town council. You may remember me from a few years ago because I was a town council member from 2009 to 2013. I have a wife and 2 children, and we've lived in Sykesville for 20 years. My daughter is a freshman in college. My son's a senior in high school. That's one of the main reasons why I didn't run for a re-election 2 years ago, so I can get the kids in college. And yay, that happened. I am an active member in my community, active member at St. Paul's United Methodist Church down here on Main Street. active in Boy Scouts. When my daughter was playing soccer, I was assistant soccer coach. I am, when I was back on the town council, I was liaison to the Parks and Rec Committee. Before I became on town council, I was a chair of the Parks and Rec Committee. I see my time's up, so I'll say the rest for last.
Great, thanks everybody for the introductions. Here's the format for tonight's forum. I'm going to ask all the candidates a series of questions. These are a mix of pre-prepared questions as well as a few of those we may receive tonight from people here at the event. Most of the questions have come via the public via email. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. All candidates will answer the identical question. I'll then open the questions to the audience, as I'd mentioned, and if we have any, we'll certainly ask those as time permits. All the audience questions will be submitted in writing. At the conclusion of the question and answer period, each candidate will have 2 minutes for a summary statement. We will be timing the responses tonight, and we'll signal when your time has run out. In the interest of time, if a candidate goes over the allotted amount of time, they will not be able to answer the next question up. So please make sure that you answer within the 2-minute time frame for each of the questions we have tonight. And with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start to ask the questions. First question of the evening is, how would you encourage business sustainability and growth in the town? I'm going to turn this over to Chip.
I think the most important thing is to allow the town to grow further through business development. The best way to do that is to really address some of the parking needs downtown. I also think we need to bring a more energetic business feeling, so there's a downtown that people want to come to, so it becomes a destination for people to bring their families. I think the growth downtown in Sykesville is going to be very, very important for the future of the town. There's a lot of talk with development going up with the streetscape that I know that Councilman Keenan has been working diligently on. But I think it's very important that we continue that growth as far as the limits of Main Street will allow. Main Street is what attracted my family to come here. It was the small town feel, but kind of the old-timey feel that really drew us in. And I really think it's important to continue to do that by supporting the businesses downtown. And I think, to be perfectly honest, the biggest issue is going to be parking going forward, and we need to find a solution to that.
Great, thank you so much, Chip. Same question going to Anna Carter.
In order to promote businesses and stability along with growth, I think that we need to promote the businesses. Nobody's going to know that there's businesses down here unless they know about it. In order to do that, we need to bring people down to our main streets. Multiple ways of doing that is through advertisement, events, as we have throughout the years. And I know that a lot of these events do bring newcomers into town that are amazed that we have so much to offer. We also need to expand our business footprint. Our main street is much smaller than the normal main street throughout Maryland, and we have to find a way to expand that to increase the retail along with services and residential up and down Main Street.
Great, Anna, thank you. Mary Ann, same question?
I believe that we have to expand, and then we would have, in order to do that, we would have to promote the businesses by doing different activities and things that's gonna bring other people to the town. We also have to make sure that the taxes are kept at a cost that everyone can afford. That way businesses don't want to go anywhere else but to come here. I just think growing and making the town bigger and better and promoting it is going to keep businesses here and bring other businesses in.
Great, thank you very much, Mary Ann. Chris, how would you encourage business sustainability and growth in the town?
Good question. The town has a great Main Street Association that is bringing new people to town with the events, as Julia had mentioned. We hold a lot of great events throughout the year. It brings new people into town to see these businesses. The businesses and restaurants themselves are fantastic, but however, we are facing one of those problems I guess that's a good problem to have, and that is parking. We do have a lot of parking spaces, but we have a lot of people coming to town. So that is one of the issues that has been with us for many years. Back when I was on the town council before, we had to deal with that issue. We expanded parking with the north side of the McElroy parking lot, with the little extra parking next to Baldwin's, but we still need to add more parking or find a better solution. And if elected, I look forward to working with our new economic development Main Street coordinator, Stephen Corella, to help solve that problem and to work on better ideas or come up with better ideas for sustained growth in Main Street. But it's not just Main Street that we need to focus on with Warfield development coming up. We need to also think of ideas for growth and development over there as well.
Great, thank you so much. And Julia?
Like everybody else has said, and like Chris just
Oh.
pointed out,
Sorry.
the town of Sykesville adopted the Main Street approach probably about 4 years ago, and I think that really revitalized the town. I think we need to continue those efforts, and the events are a good part, but we need to look at all of the aspects. The merchants have come together and formed a merchant group, which I think is great, and they can help each other with ideas and ways to make their businesses grow. We need to expand on our history. We've got a wonderful schoolhouse, and we have our Gatehouse Museum, and I think we need to capitalize on those for tourism and education. We need to capitalize on some of our other assets, like the railroad history we have in town, and just promote the shop local effort.
Great, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next question, question number 2 of the evening. And actually, Chris, you brought this up in your answer to your first question. One of the town residents has written, I've read about the sale of the Warfield complex. Tell us some possible concerns the town will face after the sale goes through. And I'm going to let Anna start this question for us.
Honestly, I don't think that there is much to be concerned about, but some of the immediate concerns would be traffic. A lot of traffic coming through, diverting from 32 into town, and we see that now, which is a good thing because it brings visibility to Main Street and everything that we have to offer. With Warfield and the development, there could be a disconnect, but our efforts starting from the growth of Warfield would be to not allow that disconnect to happen, to start from the beginning and bridge the gap between Main Street, Old Main Street, to the new Warfield development. I think that there's going to be a lot of positives that are going to come out of it. With new businesses would be increased taxes, which would allow the town to provide more services and even possibly lower residential taxes. Increase in traffic would be bringing more people into Sykesville and showing them what Sykesville has to offer. And I think that it will also grow our town.
Great, thank you. Mary, same question.
I think that the biggest concern that I see is what type of businesses or what that are going to be utilizing the Warfield complex, and to make sure that it's a part of what Sykesville is and what we stand for. And then, as Ms. Anna said, the traffic is definitely going to be an issue, but I'm sure that we can work around that. And it also will bring a lot of other people in to see what the business is about, and in what other things that we have in the town are available to people outside of the town.
Great, thank you so much. Chris, same question.
One of the concerns I've heard raised about Warfield is that it may take business or customers away from Main Street. I actually think the opposite will happen. I think with additional residential units over there, additional businesses, people are going to find, new people that are not familiar with the town are going to come and find the beauty of Main Street and utilize the services, the businesses, shop there. And so I think that's going to be a definite positive. One concern I do have with Warfield, with the addition of more streets, more businesses and so on, is to make sure that we have adequate services, public services for Warfield, both police and public works. With the addition of many more residential units, we need to make sure that the police we have enough police to not only patrol the old part of Sykesville, the part on the west side of 32, but also the part of Sykesville that's going to be over on the east side of 32. With the addition of additional tax revenue coming in, we should be able to do that, but we need to make sure that we spend that new tax money wisely. Same thing with public works, trash pickup, snow removal, paving of the roads. We need to make sure that we just don't take that windfall of money coming in and just spend it on something and not have the money and the resources available to do what we need to do for that community over there.
Great, thanks, Chris. Julia, what possible concerns do you have and that the town will face after the sale goes through of Warfield?
I'd like to echo what Chris just said. That was actually my first line, too. Being on the Planning Commission, we heard from business owners that there's concern about the Warfield complex taking business away, and I agree with Chris. I think it's going to be just the opposite. I think Main Street has its own charm, and it's not going to be the same in any way as what is available over at Warfield. There's concern that Main Street will be bypassed like it was years ago, and I think it's been in the town's plans for years to create synergy between Warfield and Main Street. And to that end, the tunnel was built several years ago as a connection between Millard Cooper Park and over at Warfield. And I think we're going to need to come up with innovative ways to use that tunnel and get people between the two places. The Planning Commission recently updated the master plan and our zoning ordinance for Warfield. And in doing so, one of the stipulations in our zoning ordinance is that a pattern book must be presented to the Planning Commission that will set forth architectural design, site planning, signage requirements, and in that way, we'll have some say over what can and cannot happen over there, because we either have to approve or disapprove of that pattern book before they can do any development.
Great points, and sitting on the Planning Commission is one of the things we did do. Last, Chip Bleem, please.
I wholeheartedly echo what Chris and Julia just mentioned. Anna's mentioned before that the traffic will be an issue, and we know that that's a possibility, but we also know that the development will allow for an increase in the tax base. The increase in tax base will allow for the development that we need in terms of adding to the police force, adding to the public services. We also want to make sure that it continues the feel of Main Street so that it has some level of connection for the entire town as a whole. In my opinion, I think the Warfield is only a positive as long as we can attract the appropriate businesses and development there. The only concern that I would have is the initial outlay and the cost, but we have to make sure that we're aware of the legacy costs for operation.
Thank you so much. This third question is actually a two-part question. So, and if at any time you need me to repeat the question before your turn, please let me know. Be more than happy to do so. Again, two parts. And we're going to start this one with Mary Castle. In your opinion, what is the greatest challenge facing our town, and how would you plan to address it?
I think the biggest challenge that the town is facing right now is speeding through Main Street. There's during rush hour, during the morning hours of people going to work, and during rush hour when people are coming home, there's a lot more traffic here now, and it's becoming where people are really speeding through town. How to plan to address it? I don't think speed cameras are going to be the answer. I think the police presence around both times, in the morning when people are going to work and in the evening when people are getting off, are going to be the key to slow everyone down. I don't think speed cameras are accurate enough. Other towns and cities have had issues with them, and I don't feel that that would be what it takes to make sure that everyone is slowing down and watching for our children, and at bus stops especially, making sure they're stopping, making sure that they are following the rules for stopping at bus stops and stuff, and not going through town that's way over the limit.
Great, thank you. Chris?
Okay. The greatest challenge facing our town is maintaining our infrastructure without putting the town at greater risk for debt than it already is. In 2005, the town took out a large loan to build a new police station. We'll be paying approximately $25,000 a year until the year 2020 to pay off that loan. In 2008, the town took out another loan to catch up on road paving, buy a backup generator for the police station, and a few other items. We'll be paying around $80,000 to $100,000 a year to pay off that loan until the year 2023. In the upcoming fiscal year, the town will be paying $128,232 to cover our debt service, which accounts for about 6% of our total operating expenses. Because of the work we did when I was on the council a few years ago, the town is in position to pay for our paving projects without having to borrow more money. We now need to get into that position with regards to our sidewalks, walking trails, playgrounds, parks, and other infrastructure items.
Great, thank you so much. Julia?
I think the greatest challenge facing us today is going to be our streetscape project for downtown. It's going to impact residents, it's going to impact businesses, it's going to impact visitors. It's going to be many years in the development. We're right now in the design phase. There's no funding currently for construction. However, we're going to have to make sure in that design phase that we account for everything possible, because once we start construction, we can't say, oops, we forgot to consider this. So I think we're going to have to do everything in our power and just stay very involved with the state and make sure that all of our concerns are addressed.
Great, Julia, thank you so much. And Chip?
To me, the biggest concern that we have after speaking with, some of my neighbors is the parking downtown. I think that the most important thing is to figure out a solution that will allow for the expansion of the development of Main Street through adding parking spaces in the short term and then finding a viable solution in the long term. To me, I think that the best option is basically expanding in the South Branch Park where we can, because now with the park that's there, we need to be able to house people or allow people to park their cars there when they come to visit. I was down there the other day and there were 8 cars parked next to each other. We need to find some way to develop that lot and then make it accessible to Main Street. People want to be able to walk to the shops, but they want to be able to park their car safely as well. Whether that's, maybe expanding that bridge or the walking path on that bridge to allow them to come over safely. I don't know exactly what the solution is, but I think that that's probably our best option at the moment.
Great, thank you. And Anna?
One of the challenges that we face is funding, government funding. The government gives us grants, gives us funding it helps subsidize the police. And as the years go on, with the state trying to balance their budget, they're reducing the amount of funding that they provide to the towns. We rely on those funds, we rely on those grants, and if they're not able to be utilized, we won't have that in our budget, and we're going to have to make accommodations to supplement that. How we do that is, I think, one of the biggest challenges that we have.
Great, all great answers from all the candidates. Also, I want to remind everybody in our audience tonight, if you have any questions, please write them down on the note cards in front of you and submit it to me while the candidates are addressing the questions at hand, and we'll try to get those into the program tonight. Now we're going to move on to question number 4. What are your thoughts and vision for the future of Sykesville? And Chris, I see you haven't answered first. I want to give this one to you.
Sure, thank you. I believe the future of Sykesville is a bright one. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to do business. And it's a great place to go shopping, eat restaurants, that sort of thing. Warfield development is quickly becoming a reality, and we have, sorry, I'm just losing I'm reading here and talking to you guys at the same time. Anyway, the future, as I said, it's a bright future. We do have some challenges ahead, but I think the vision that was laid out many years ago by Mayor Herman about developing Main Street, about developing Warfield, is a good vision. And over the last several years, we have maintained and we have progressed that vision. We have great people working here at the townhouse, and volunteers in the town to make sure that that vision becomes a reality. The Main Street Association has been working diligently to provide and push forward our vision for a strong Main Street with the various events and businesses. So, yeah, I guess I'm done.
Great. Mary, I'm going to switch the order and put you second this time.
Okay, I think that the town has a bright, blossoming future with all the upcoming events and stuff, and all the upcoming things that the town is working on to make the town more better than it can be. I think that our future is looking as a blossoming town coming together. That's pretty much,
All right?
yeah.
Okay. Anna, same question.
Sykesville is full of energy right now. It has an amazing synergy that I've seen increase each year in just the short time that I've been here in town. And I think that with everyone's effort and everyone's focus, it just continues. We have a new park right down the street with the collaboration with Howard County. Hopefully with Warfield Development, we're going to be bustling over there. Life here in town is many things to offer. We have downtown with the local shops, we have the parks, we have community involvement, activities, events. It just seems like the energy is just increasing with each month going forward and bringing more people in town, and it just spreads. So I think that keeping that energy and synergy is going to be trying to keep it going is what needs to get done in order to continue with the progress of Sykesville.
Great, thank you so much. Chip, what are your thoughts and visions for the future of Sykesville?
In the 7 years that I've lived in town, I've seen a tremendous amount of development in Sykesville. And I continue to see that development through the expansion through Warfield, through the streetscape project. It's amazing to see the changes that are happening. And I don't see any changes that are going in the wrong direction. I see everyone moving in the right direction and moving together as a unit, which is amazing, because when you see small towns that kind of rally together, everybody benefits from it. From the businesses to the residents to everyone in the area. So it's really important that we continue to move forward with the simple projects that will help to make a difference, but also with the larger scope when we're talking about streetscape and Warfield. So to me, as we see the expansion there, we're going to see the expansion, more and more people coming into the town, which allows for people to want to be here more and encourages people who are here to stay and be happy where they are. So for me, I see the expansion economically with the business aspect helping the town residents in that sense.
Great, good answer, thank you so much. And Julia?
I'm going to be brief. I just want to make sure that Sykesville remains a destination, but also maintains its small-town charm. And like I said before, capitalize on the historical significance that we have here. The development of South Branch Park is going to be vital as a gateway to the town. And I look forward to continuing with our partnership with Howard County and working on that property.
Great, thank you so much. Everybody had great answers for that question. On to the next question. How do you feel about the current level of services that the town offers, and what are they? And we're going to keep it right in Julia's lap at this point.
Oh, good. I think the town has excellent services. I know there's those that would disagree, but I think we have an awesome police force. We have an auxiliary force that's completely volunteer. We have our Public Works Department that handles trash, recycling. They pick up yard waste. They have an annual event to pick up bulk waste and Christmas trees. We have a post office in town. We have, the Public Works crew also takes care of our parks. They take care of buildings. So I'd like to look at those services and see if there's anything we can do better or any cost efficiencies that we can determine.
Great. Chris, coming to you.
All right. The main services that affect the residents' day-to-day life, as Julia mentioned, include public safety, trash and recycling pickup, snow removal, and the maintenance of our great park system. I am very satisfied as a town resident that my tax dollars are being spent well for these services. But we do need to keep an eye on the things that can impact our current level of services. One of those items is staff retention. It costs a lot of money to retrain a police officer, to bring a new officer in, even if he's a veteran officer, to bring him in, get him up to speed on Sykesville's rules, regulations, through all the qualifications and everything else. It's a lot cheaper to keep the officers that we have, and we do have a great staff. One of the things that Sykesville has done in the lines of staff retention is join the state pension system. Something that everybody in town has been asking for, all the town employees, and the town has recently gone on to the state pension system, which is a great move forward. Because if we do not maintain our staffing levels, our level of service will go down. One of the other things that we need to keep an eye on is the salary we pay our public works, our public safety officers, and other town employees. We need to make sure we stay competitive to maintain our staffing levels. And as I mentioned earlier, another impact to our services is going to be Warfield. We need to make sure that, as I said, we maintain our police levels, our public works, and make sure that we don't dip below acceptable levels that town residents expect.
Great, thank you so much. And Mary, same question.
First of all, I want to thank all of our levels of service that we have here. Our police department, Parks and Recreation, with the new park that they built across the railroad tracks here is wonderful. Our trash removal, snow removal, especially during the time this winter, we had a very bad winter, and we were able to get through town perfectly. I think I feel great being in the town of Sykesville with all the services that we do have, and I look forward to hoping that we can just grow and extend on all the services that we do have for the town of Sykesville.
Great, thank you. And Anna, how do you feel about the current level of services in the town?
Honestly, I've lived in several places throughout Maryland, and I think that the services that Sykesville has to offer is second to none. Our police department, public safety, you can't call the state police and they know your name or know your street. It's just, the police department know who I am, they know the residences, they know the concerns that we have, and it's not going to be, your issue is not going to be taken not lightly. Your issue is not going to be taken lightly. Our public works, they work tirelessly through trash collection, recycling, snow removal, street maintenance, park maintenance. I see them at all hours. Going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're out there in the pouring rain. And if I have an issue, I can call the Public Works Department and say, hey, look, you forgot to pick up my trash. I need another recycling can, and they're there the next day. Post office, we have a local post office here that the town provides. You can go down there, they know your name, you can say, hey, I have this package, I need more stamps. And you don't have to wait in the long lines that you do in a main post office. And of course, our townhouse employees. I mean, if you lived in any other place, calling Westminster and having an issue brought up, they're just going to put it on the back burner. Here, everybody knows who you are, they know what issues you face, and they're going to do everything that they can to accommodate you.
Great, thank you so much. And Chip?
To me, the public works is vital. As a business owner, I love when I get to work on a snowy day and my patients are like, wow, I can't believe you got here. Well, it's because the town plows itself so well. As long as I can get to 32, I can get anywhere, and they get me to 32 just about every time. So I'd like to thank them for all of their hard work. I also would like to thank the town of Sykesville for the residents of Sykesville for their flexibility when it comes to a pending snowstorm or something along those lines, and allowing the public works to be able to shift their schedule when it comes to trash removal or recycling removal. Because I think that that's a commendation to the townhouse and how they communicate with the residents. Because if the townhouse wasn't there to provide the structure for that situation, the residents wouldn't know, and then we would have garbage cans or recycling bins sitting by the road. So thank you to the townhouse employees as well. The police force is always a welcome member of our society, our community. They're always in our neighborhood, but never intrusive, unless it's necessary. So I like to commendate, or to thank them as well for their time and work, because they've been wonderful in terms of providing a safe environment for our kids to grow up.
Great, thank you so much. We're going to move on to the next question. And the question is, what is your stand on the speed cameras, and how do you think the cameras would affect the safety of the children? And we're going to keep it with you, Chip.
I think the speed cameras, I think that they're actually a very good option in terms of deterring people from speeding. The speed that they register is my only concern. Are they as accurate as we want them to be? But I can tell you that when we drive through Howard County and they have speed cameras by all the schools, people do not speed through there. So I think that they serve a purpose in that sense, and I don't see any real reason not to utilize them.
Okay. Julia, same question.
I'm up. First, I want to say that for years, the prime concern we've heard is speeding in town. We did vote to, actually, I wasn't on the council then, so I didn't vote to put in the speed cameras, but there was a vote taken to put speed cameras in town, and then a petition was passed, and a vote was taken, and they were defeated. I think more research needs to be done. There have been some changes in the legislation regarding the speed cameras. I think, like Chip said, I think they serve a purpose. I think we have to do something more than what we're capable of doing with our own police force to address speeding. I know there are people who are upset with speed cameras, but if you're not speeding, then you don't have an issue. Right now, we all pay for the police force in town. If we got speed cameras, we could use some of the funds that were generated from that to fund public safety. People see it as a revenue generator, and yes, it would generate some revenue for us. But what people don't understand right now is that when our officers issue a speeding ticket, the town receives none of that money. All of that money goes to the state. So with speed cameras, we'd at least see some of that revenue. But like I said, we have to look at the changes in the legislation and see where that stands. I know they made changes to the radius in which the speed cameras can be put, and I'm not sure what else. So I'd want to look into it more.
Great, thank you very much. Chris, to you?
I was on the town council back when we had that vote back in 2010, and I did vote for speed cameras. As Julie mentioned, there was a petition that went around, and it went to a referendum vote. The majority of citizens, 60% of the people that came out to vote, voted against speed cameras. Regardless of my personal opinion on speed cameras, I think they do serve a purpose. I would not support speed cameras in the future here in town because the residents have spoken, and I listen to the residents. You know, we are here to be representatives of our citizens, not to have a personal agenda. So unless I hear a major upcry or uproar from the citizenry saying we want speed cameras, I have to listen to what the residents said back in 2010, and that is that they did not want speed cameras.
Great, thank you so much. And Mary?
I think the inaccuracy of the speed cameras in other areas should be a deterrent for us, for the town of Sykesville, not to invest in the speed cameras. They would serve a purpose. If you see it, you'll slow down. But how long is that going to last? You know, people run red lights, people run right through speed cameras now that are out here on 32. I feel that police presence would deter people from speeding. And our police department is very friendly and they're very educated in what they're doing. And I just think that putting them in the areas that we see the most activity of speeding would slow down everyone from speeding through.
Great, thank you. And Anna, please.
Speed cameras serve a purpose. I think that purpose is best served in a larger community. We have a smaller community with only one school zone, and most speed cameras are in front of school zones. I think that, as Mary said, if more police were present, and we have seen that increase with the new chief in place, that police are now trolling the areas and doing the best that they can with the critical areas of where speeders tend to be. And I think that in our small community, the speed cameras may not be the best use to deter speeding.
Great, thank you so much. Again, I want to remind the audience, if you have any questions, to please bring them up. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left, and could use a question or two to ask. Thanks so much, Frank. As we're going to move on to question number 7, I'm going to pitch this to Anna first, and we're going to actually take an audience question. Do you see any additional forms of future revenue for the town?
The big one on the horizon is Warfield. I mean, that community would generate homes, which would provide with income taxes, businesses, which would provide for business taxes. I think that is the biggest one on the horizon that would give the town a large revenue. And part of that revenue would be used for public services, your police department expansion and your public works expansion and so forth. But I think that the Warfield would be a large producing revenue source.
Great. Thank you, Chip.
I would echo what Anna just said and said that Warfield is obviously the largest option we have in terms of increasing revenue. You don't want to see any kind of tax increases to the citizens, obviously, but we'd like to see that the town can offset the cost of operating Warfield by increasing the taxes through those businesses, increasing the revenue of the town rather than the taxes by using those businesses. And that seems to be the largest option in terms of increasing town revenue.
Okay, thank you. Julia?
I would agree with Warfield as well, but another idea I would say would be South Branch Park. I think we need to continue with our partnership with Howard County and the warehouse building that's down there. Once we get that rehabilitated and decide what its main purpose will be, I think it can be a huge source of revenue that we would share with Howard County, obviously, but we could hold events there and different things that I think would generate revenue.
Great, thank you so much. Chris?
We as a municipality are very limited on our revenue streams that we can utilize. We receive, our majority of our revenue comes from real estate property tax. We receive revenue from income tax. We receive a good portion of revenue from the state of Maryland through the intergovernment, through user highway revenue funds, through state police grants. And we also receive a portion of money from Carroll County. We as Sykesville town residents pay county taxes for services that we provide ourselves. So there's a formula, rather complex formula that Carroll County has, that they give a portion of our county tax money back to the municipalities. They don't have to do that, but we are very fortunate that they do. Besides that, we are limited on adding additional revenue streams. It would be great if we can get a hotel or some other good business over in Warfield. And so we need to really grow our businesses so we can lessen the tax burden on the residents. You know, Sykesville is a unique municipality in that majority of our revenue comes from the residents. The majority of the businesses around here are outside of the town limits, unlike other municipalities where A lot of the businesses are inside the town limits, and a lot of the residents are outside the town limits. So unfortunately, a lot of the burden is shifted to the residents here for coming up with the tax revenue. So the more we can promote and get Warfield developed, as Julia mentioned, South Branch and other allowable revenue sources, that we don't have to rely on the tax dollar. And, you know, we don't want to have to raise taxes. In fact, if we can grow those other streams, it would be great to be able to lower the property tax.
Great, thank you so much. And last but not least, Mary.
I'm going to agree with the development of the Warfield complex. I think that with businesses coming in and more residents, it's going to definitely bring us more revenue in the town.
Great, thank you so much. That was a good question. Thank you, audience, for whoever submitted that. We have another question coming from the audience. Question number 8 for the evening. We'll start out with Mary here. And what new type of businesses should come to Sykesville?
New type of businesses. Oh, gosh. Anything that's going to fit within our little town of Sykesville. There's a lot of new businesses that are already here that are like the little consignment, stuff like that could come into the town. Other restaurants maybe, besides the ones that we have. That's pretty much we're covered to me. We're covered on a lot of businesses and what we have in town.
Great, thank you. Same question. Anna?
I think here in Main Street, if we maintain the character that it is now, boutiques and little shops and proprietorship businesses. Whereas in Warfield, I think that we're looking for a different type of feel, something that is not a chain store, but something that's bigger, maybe a market of some sort, an organic market, something that would fit, as Mary Ann said, with our vision in the future. Eldersburg is having the new strip center, so I think that they're going to be covering the Targets and the Walmarts and stuff. So I think that we need something different than that, but keeping it within the future of Sykesville.
Great, thank you so much. Chip, to you.
I think that what we need to do is make Main Street more of a family-friendly destination kind of place. So the kind of place where you want to take your family on a Friday night to go down and, you know, maybe you're going to grab dinner at Beck's and then walk across the street to an ice cream shop or something along those lines, where you can spend the time with your family and want to walk up and down Main Street, rather than having some of the shops that close a little earlier so people aren't out walking the streets. Well, not that walking the streets sounds good, but you get the idea. But we want foot traffic on Main Street, because that's going to help all of the other small businesses, because as people are walking up and down the street, they may poke their head into a shop that they may not have looked to go to on their way over. So the more we have destination and family-friendly types of shops on Main Street, the more likely we are to generate foot traffic from people who may or may not have gone into those stores on their own. In terms of Warfield, I'd love to see more small businesses there, some types of, you know, shops, but also maybe some doctor's offices, or maybe some other small businesses where people would, you know, use it to travel to work. Maybe people from the town can work there, ride their bike there. Maybe we can limit some of the gas costs and those kinds of things. So I'd love to see more of destination retail shops, and then also, you know, the increase of some small businesses.
Great, thank you so much. And Julia, same question.
I agree with Chip. It's something I've pondered for a long time, the fact that businesses close so early. We are a commuter community, and so people pass through town on their way out of town and on their way back in, and usually on their way back in, the shops are closed. There have been strides made there, definitely, with the merchants sponsoring different events like First Fridays where they stay open later. But I think we need to really ponder that some more and figure out how we can tweak that. Personally, since I've moved here, I have wanted an ice cream shop. We need an old-fashioned ice cream shop downtown. And the other thing I'd love to see is some sort of pizza shop. I think they'd be great additions to our Main Street.
Great, thank you so much. And Chris, last but not least.
I agree with the other members on the panel, although the ice cream shop, we have a chocolate shop, which is not doing good things for my figure, and I don't know what would happen if we got an ice cream shop. Main Street's has a lot of great boutiques, a lot of great shops, a lot of great restaurants. And I agree, I would love to see an ice cream place down there, and I'd frequent it very often. Over at Warfield, I'd like to see some more commercial. You know, I guess the vision was that, you know, with BRAC and with Fort Meade and everything, that we would get some businesses that support Fort Meade area type technology-based businesses up here in Sykesville. It'd be great. You know, I work down in Laurel, and it's a 35, 40-minute, sometime an hour and 20-minute commute for me just to get down to Laurel. I'd love to drive 5 minutes across 32 and be at work, or walk or ride a bike. And the more people that we can get to work and play, or work in Sykesville, will end up playing in Sykesville and paying money to the shops and businesses. So what do we need in Sykesville? We need it all. You know, we have some great boutiques, but we need to have businesses and employers where people can live in Sykesville or in Carroll County and work in Sykesville.
Great, thank you so much, and good thing we have that tunnel now, because when you
Yes.
start working over there, you can certainly ride your bike and not have to worry about the traffic.
Or walk.
Or walk, it's a wonderful thing. Great, we have time for maybe one or two more questions. I do have one other question from the audience, and I'll ask that, and if we have any time, I have one sort of queued up, we'll deal with. Question number 9 of the evening. What has been your involvement with the town as a volunteer up to this point? And we're going to start with Chris.
Okay. Before I was on the town of Sykesville, the town council back in 2009, I joined up and was a member of the Sykesville Parks and Events Committee. Back then it was called Parks and Events. And I was a just regular member going. Next thing I knew, I was the co-chairman of that committee. And then I became the chairman of that committee, and I was participating in the budget process. From then I became a council member, and as part of my job on the council, I was liaison to the Historic District Commission and the Parks and Rec Committee. While I was also on town council, I was a volunteer in the Main Street Association's Design Committee.
Great, thank you so much. Mary?
Well, honestly, I have not had the opportunity or the chance to be able to be on any extracurricular, anything around town. I do plan on looking into different things to volunteer for with the coming future for myself.
Great, thank you so much. Anna?
When I first moved into town, I began volunteering with the Main Street Association. I was a member of the Promotions Committee, which helped with the events, and of course I attended and helped with those events. I also became part of the Economic Development Committee, which is part of the Main Street Association, and I am the chairperson of that. And prior to becoming elected on the town council, I was part of a task force to help look into the issues that the town was facing with compensation, see how we measured with the other town municipalities throughout Maryland. And then while I was on the town council, I am the liaison to the Parks and Recreation Committee. So I bring back what the committee has to the town.
Great, thank you so much. Chip?
Admittedly, I have not volunteered as much in the town of Sykesville, as most of my volunteering was done in Howard County, where I was working before. But now that I have moved not only the family, but also the business to the area, I'm now planning to do more volunteering. We're active members at St. Paul's United Methodist Church here in Main Street. My wife does some volunteering there, as well as through a Mothers of Preschoolers program. Most of my volunteering was done in coaching prior to coming here, so through Parks and Recreation in Howard County, actually through the First Tee program in Howard County over the last couple of years, where I got the opportunity to work with kids and teach them, you know, not just the game of golf, but the ethics and the rules of the game as well.
Great, thank you so much. And Julia?
Prior to even considering running for council, I attended town council meetings regularly, probably for a year or two. During that time, I served on the Budget Research Committee in town. I served on the Economic Development Committee, and as Anna said, I was liaison to the Parks and Recreation Committee, which is sort of volunteer, but sort of not. It comes with your position on the council. But the part that was volunteer was I participated in most of the activities that the committee did. I was part of the group that got the Sykesville Cinema started in town, and I think that's been hugely successful. Been on the Main Street Promotions Committee since the whole Main Street approach was adopted in town, so it's been about 4 years now, and it is completely rewarding.
Great, thank you so much. Tell you what, we're going to try to slide one more question here tonight, and then we'll go to conclusions and concluding remarks. The question has to do with connectivity in the town. The master plan goes into great length to talk about connectivity from the different areas of town. We've had a significant amount of debate with the Warfield project as it relates to the potential draw from downtown, at least as part of that debate. And we've talked about that, or it's been mentioned today. So how would you help to achieve greater or a great connectivity between Warfield's future development, once it's developed, and downtown? And Chip, we'll start with you on this one, if that's okay.
Sure. I think that the most important thing is to make people aware of the tunnel that connects. I don't know that all of town is aware that the tunnel goes through. I myself use the tunnel from time to time, but there's less reason for foot traffic through there at the moment. So as more people are aware of it, I think that they will use it as well. The other thing is I think we need to promote what's going in there so that the town is aware of the businesses that are going in so that they can support it. Because as the Warfield complex grows and people become more aware of it, it's that much more important that people hear about what's going on over there. Because if people aren't aware that there are businesses there, they may suffer through those first couple of months, which are crucial to a small business or for their ability to grow and move forward. So I think it's important not just to know that there's physical connectivity, but also some level of support from the town as a whole to let people know that there's a connection there now.
Great, thank you so much. We're going to change directions. Come to Anna this time.
I think that we need to, first with streetscape, the streetscape is going to look into the connectivity between Warfield and Main Street. We have several different stopping points between Warfield and Main Street, and I think that we need to promote those. The Gatehouse Museum, we have Miller Cooper Park, we have, of course, the school, and trying to get everybody not isolated and just having it a continuous avenue between Warfield and Main Street with the rest of the town. Signage is going to be huge. We need to let everybody know that's traveling on 32 that, hey, stop, go to your right, go to your left, there's things to see. So I think signage is definitely an important aspect, and the streetscape will hopefully address a lot of those issues.
Great, thank you. Mary, same question?
Promoting it, signs, banners, making sure that everyone in the town is aware that there is something going on at Warfield, that there's going to be businesses, there's going to be residents there. The more that you get out and the more that people understand what's going on and what's going to be there, the more that we will connect with the side of Warfield and Main Street.
Great, thank you. Chris?
I agree with what has been said. And I mean, the connections over to Warfield are not going to just be through the tunnel, but we also can connect in through Raincliff or make sure there's connectivity from Warfield over to Freedom Park. But there is going to be a lot of direct connection coming in from the tunnel from Miller Cooper Park. And one of the things we need to make sure of is that we also have good connections from the town, the current residential town, into Cooper Park, so they can get over to Warfield. Right now, you have to go down Springfield Avenue or 3rd Avenue, Obrecht to get in there, and we need to make sure that we provide proper sidewalks, bike paths to be able to get more people over there.
Great. Julia?
I should just say ditto. I agree, like I brought up earlier, the tunnel, like Chip said. I would love to see something like a trolley that would transport people between the Warfield complex and downtown. Like Chris said, one of the big things I think we need to look at are pathways into town. Carroll County, some time ago, looked into the bike connection between Eldersburg and Sykesville, and they are currently working on a trail that I have participated in the meetings with them on that. It was going to be the Freedom Trail. It's now been named the Governor Brown Trail. And it is going to end right now in Springfield, so we have to work on the next step and extend it down into Sykesville.
Great, thank you so much. We are now going to give the candidates the opportunity for a closing statement. Each candidate will have 1 minute for close. We'll start at this end this time with Chris.
All right, first up, Steve, I'd like to thank you for moderating this event and thank the Community Media Center for broadcasting, recording and broadcasting this event. And I'd like to thank my fellow panel members up here for running. Having been on the town council before, I know that it is a very time-consuming job if you do it right. And but it's also a very rewarding job. If it wasn't rewarding, if I didn't have fun, I wouldn't be coming back for a second round. So May 5th, please come out and vote. If you don't like me, that's okay. Still come out and vote. You know, I don't think you can go wrong with anybody up here being on the council. So, you know, but if you do have it in your heart, please vote for me. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Mary.
Well, I haven't, this is my first time running for the town council, and I'm not familiar with everything yet, and if you give me the opportunity by voting for me on May 5th, I will definitely try to fit in and learn everything that I need to learn about my town. As I said earlier, I'm hoping to step in and take off where my father left so many years ago. And I thank everyone for being here, for taking the time out, and I thank my panel. Everybody's nice. So vote on May 5th.
Thank you so much. Anna.
Thank you for attending and listening. I want to re-emphasize the passion that I have for this town. As soon as I started working here, moving here, it just drew me in. I call this my Mayberry. I mean, my family loves it. My son, who's 11, can walk over, and all the people know him. You can't find that these days, and I have a passion to make sure that that continues. We are on an amazing journey right now to bring Sykesville to everyone nearby and bring it out in the light, and it's like a rose about to bloom, and it's just amazing, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to share that, and I want to be part of the decisions to make sure that that continues.
Great, thank you so much. Chip.
I can honestly say I've never been more proud to be a resident of Sykesville. Now that I live and work in this area and see the people of the town on a daily basis, I've never been more proud. So I want the opportunity to represent you so that you know that you're represented well. So please take the time on May 5th to come out and vote. We would all appreciate it.
Great, thank you so much. And Julia.
I'd just like to say I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all the ins and outs of the town. I feel like my time on the council, I have really learned a lot, and I feel like I'm in a good place now to direct all of our efforts. I'd like to see things through that have begun, and that's why I'm running again. I'd like to encourage everyone to volunteer in the town. It is very rewarding, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Great, thank you so much. And thank everybody for attending. I want to definitely thank the Carroll Media Center for helping put this on and streaming this. Definitely candidates, thank you for coming out. I wish you the best in our election, which is Tuesday, May 5th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here at the Townhouse. And it's time for you guys to get out and vote. People have fought for our right to be able to do so. And let's not waste that. So come out May 5th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here at the Townhouse and vote for the candidate of your choice. Thank you so much and have a good evening.